There are many travelers who just hate all-inclusive resorts, and at first glance, they offer some pretty compelling arguments, but are they actually true? Hi guys, Vanessa here, and welcome to Passport Pages. And I've seen a lot of complaints against all-inclusive resorts since I've had my channel, and in today's video, I'm responding as a lover of all-inclusives and why you should be one too, right now on Passport Pages. Okay, so let's kick things off with a very common complaint, which is that all-inclusive resorts are too crowded. And while that can be true, there are many ways to avoid crowds, beginning with when you visit. Peak travel season for these resorts is January through April, spring break season, so if you don't want to have to fight over loungers or dining reservations, travel during the fall, which is when we typically go, and it makes a huge difference. I also recommend booking your stay Monday through Thursday if possible, because I can't tell you how many times we've had very quiet and peaceful stays until Friday came around, and then we notice a major difference. You'd be surprised how many travelers book a weekend stay and hop down from Florida to Punta Cana or Cancun for just the weekend. So now we just avoid those days whenever possible. But maybe the biggest misconception of all is that everyone assumes that all-inclusives are all these massive properties that have thousands and thousands of guests each day, and as I've said many times in my reviews, that's not true at all. All-inclusives have changed quite a bit in recent years, and not every all-inclusive is the Hard Rock. You have many intimate, boutique-sized options like Zoetre Agua and Hotel Musai that offer a smaller and quieter experience in a convenient all-inclusive package. So, if like me, crowds are not your thing, there are definitely ways to avoid them and have a very peaceful and relaxing all-inclusive stay. The next big criticism of all-inclusives is many travelers believe them to be void of culture. Many people get turned off by the fact that a lot of the all-inclusive brands don't incorporate any of the local culture from the countries their properties are in, and omit it in the style and decor. I've talked before about how the Riu resorts are guilty of this, as well as removing it from cuisine and activities which are very basic with no authenticity. And a big reason why many all-inclusive properties are this way is to appeal to the masses, be more of a blank slate, so to speak, so everyone will feel comfortable. But many of us do want that extra local flavor and immersion, and there are definitely all-inclusive options that do a great job of incorporating those elements into their properties. So don't assume that's true of every all-inclusive resort. You just have to know which ones to choose, and that's why I've always made it such a big focus in my reviews, and I'm quick to point out the all-inclusives that do a good job with this, because that's something that I look for in my stays as well. And this is also why I always say not to solely rely on your resort to be your introduction to a local culture. This is the perfect opportunity to use your vacation to go off-site and explore and try local activities and food and learn about the local history in a safe way, of course. But that really adds a lot to your vacation, and those are some of the best memories you'll make. So don't just stay within your resort grounds, because you'll be missing out on many wonderful experiences. Another big criticism of all-inclusives, the food is bad. It's interesting to me that despite all the amazing dining options at the vast majority of all-inclusives, this notion still exists. But I think a lot of it has to do with many cruisers who assume an all-inclusive is an all-inclusive, and while yes, most cruises still focus their dining options on buffets all over the place, which is fine if you prefer that, but that's not really the case at all-inclusive resorts. The vast majority of the resorts I review have fantastic dining options with every type of cuisine you can imagine, most of them a la cartes, but maybe more importantly, a very high level of dining quality, with some of the most famous chefs in the world at the helm. And all-inclusives are also incredibly accommodating of any special dietary restrictions, and I've pointed out in many of my reviews the fact that many all-inclusive resorts even use organic produce and meat in their dishes. I will say, since I've been traveling regularly the past 7 years, I haven't really seen the all-inclusive dining cliches that travelers worry about all that much, but I do know there are some exceptions, and I also have heard that going back 15, 20 years, that was definitely the norm. But have no fear, because inclusive dining has come a long way. And some of these all-inclusives truly have some of the best dining you can get at any resort in the world, period. Another criticism I hear about why people hate all-inclusives, they're too big. And quite frankly, that is true of many of the resorts that I review, which are known as mega resorts. And most mega resorts are all-inclusives with thousands of rooms, and I talk a lot about how you need to use the resort trolleys and golf carts to get around. And that's why I mention all those important details in my reviews, because having to walk 20 minutes to get to the main pool or dining from your room might be a deal breaker for many of you. And that's also why I like to both try and review all types of all-inclusives. Many travelers do prefer these mega all-inclusives because of the huge number of amenities and dining options and even room options that you get with your all-inclusive rate. And some of us just want more bang for the buck. But, as I always review, and I even mentioned earlier in this video, these days there are many boutique-sized all-inclusives for those of you who prefer your property being a more manageable size and don't mind there being just a few dining options and fewer amenities in exchange for a more peaceful and relaxing atmosphere with a side of convenience. So that's one of the many wonderful things about all-inclusives. You have every type of size option, from boutique to moderate to mega, all in a convenient all-inclusive package. And with more and more new properties popping up each year, the choices keep growing, and I'll always be sure to keep you guys updated on the latest ones. But hands down, the most common complaint I see is that all-inclusive resorts are not a good deal. And right up front, I will respectfully disagree with this one the most. While I don't review as many regular resorts as I do all-inclusives on my channel, maybe I should a bit more, but we travel to them even more so. And let me tell you, every single time I'm reminded of how much more expensive they are than all-inclusives. We're talking usually triple the nightly rate, and nothing's included. I see people complaining about $250 a night for an all-inclusive stay, when the average Caribbean resort we book is upwards of $1,000 a night, and again, that's just for the room. And meals are really pricey these days if you haven't noticed, and it adds up really fast. So if you ever wonder if they're a good deal, I challenge you to start looking for some 5-star resorts, like most of the all-inclusives I review are, and start comparing rates between a 5-star all-inclusive and a 5-star a la carte resort, because I think you'll be pretty shocked. We tend to focus on the convenience of all-inclusives and forget about the fact that you're also saving a lot of money. So in the crazy global economy we're currently experiencing, if you want to travel and get the best deal, all-inclusive is definitely the way to go on a budget, especially these days. So there's no question that all-inclusives aren't for everyone, but hopefully I helped you guys work through some of these opinions to see a different side of the hate. If you've heard any of these criticisms or experienced some of these issues yourself, please let us know, respectfully of course, in the comments, and whether you prefer regular resorts or all-inclusives. I'm sure our viewers will find your feedback really helpful. This is Vanessa for Passport Pages. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all very soon. Bye guys!